Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to She Power. This is the show where we celebrate all things women. Now today we have a very interesting conversation that's about to get started. And I have with me Purity Kagwere, the Executive Director of Akili Dada. Welcome to She Power.
Thank you very much.
And thank you very much for having us here at Akili Dada.
Yes, thank you. This is our space. You're welcome here.
Thank you. Thank you, Purity. Now, let's just start us off, and to give us a bit of context for our discussion, tell us about Akili Dada. How did it come about, and what problem was Akili Dada, or is Akili Dada seeking to solve?
So Akili Dada started 10 years ago. This is our birthday year, which we are really celebrating. We are running a campaign, and we're doing a lot of stuff just to celebrate that we've been here 10 years ago. Yeah. When we started from this young woman's dream to see more women in leadership and more women coming from underprivileged backgrounds taking up spaces of leadership, because we see a lot of women, or rather, the number of women in leadership is little. Yes. And those women sometimes tend to come from some bit of privilege, or quite some privilege. And she wanted to change that status quo, in that anyone, as a woman, is able to participate in leadership spaces. So Wanjiru Kamau Rutenberg, she was doing her PhD, she was finalizing her PhD in 2006. And she thought, what way can I give back to the community? She herself had been a person who really benefited from other people's goodwill. So she just gotten married, and the money that she received as gifts is what she used to give the first 4 scholarships of Akili Dada. Wow. So we address that gap, or we want to build a critical mass of young women, girls and young women coming from underprivileged backgrounds who are able to take up leadership spaces across the society.
Wow,
yeah.
Wow, that is amazing. I mean, and I believe that is one area that requires a lot of focus. Women in leadership, a conversation that we've been having going on, especially this year. And we've had cries most recently, and especially in Kenya, that we have had too much focus on the women's movement in Kenya. What are your sentiments on this?
My feeling around that is that people we have a whole crop of Kenyans who just live on social media. And when, say, today they watch me on your show, they will say women have been over-empowered. Yeah. First of all, there's no word like being over-empowered, right? Secondly, that I keep saying, if you just get out of Nairobi, you don't even need to get out of Nairobi, go to any slum within this city, you will see the people who are really pushing things, doing all manner of things to feed their families are women. The people who are most disadvantaged in this country are still women. So we can say, we've been having this conversation. I take that to mean that maybe more people are now aware that actually some of the things we do and look at them as norm actually do take away from women and girls enjoying their lives. And that's why people are starting to feel like, why are you focusing on this thing? I think it's a good thing that people are starting to recognize that this conversation is happening. But then I like to look at it that investing in women or empowering girls and young women and women does not take away from men in any way. In say, some of the communities in this country, female genital mutilation, which is really violating someone's body against their will, they are not even aware what's happening. Some of them, I think, FGM happens when they're maybe 5. What choice does a 5-year-old has? However, when such things happen, we look at it as a cultural norm, while in real sense, it's really affecting this child, not only physically, but also psychologically. Unless we find a concrete way of addressing these things, I feel like the conversation of saying, women are now taking up all the spaces is really, we are so far. We've not, we're just at the shore of addressing the issues that really affect girls, women across this country, across this continent.
Oh yeah, that's very true. I mean, the statistics still speak of a situation that needs to continue being addressed. And maybe I'll ask you, given that we've had this crisis and we've seen somewhat the forgetting to carry along the men when we're doing our women empowerment. How can we bring them along? How can we remove this perception of, you know, it's a competition, we're here to take, but not, you know, have that equal platform where we can, both of us, you know, be on the same level and based on whatever qualifications we have, go for something.
Yeah, I think part of it is really having conversations. And I think these conversations start at the household level. These conversations start, for example, when I am expecting a child and everyone is saying, oh my God, if you're going to have a boy, you know, and it looks like, you know, this is the best thing that could happen to your life. And if, for example, you think you're having a boy and you end up having a girl, you can see on people's faces like, oh, we thought, you know, we thought you're going to have a boy. Just to recognize that these things start really early. And for us to start changing that conversation, it has to be that I am conscious that if I'm bringing up a child, I'm bringing them to recognize that there's no difference between them, between being a boy and being a girl. I mean, there's yes, a biological difference, but then our abilities, our intellect, the opportunities we have access to, we can change that. So if we bring up our children to actually see that they, first of all, to make all chores at the household gender neutral, that anyone can do anything. Recognizing that the things we really grapple with are very trivial, and unfortunately these things build up and then it becomes such a systemic thing to beat. And that's why...
Do you think it's culture? Culture, like, you know, all the way from the traditional forms of interaction and living together, or is it something that we've come up with along the way, you know, as the years come to?
I think it's socialization, because our cultures have very, very empowering ways of looking at men and women. We grew up thinking that this is the way a girl should be. This is the way a boy should be. And because of that, we socialize our girls to think, oh, you cannot be too ambitious. You cannot speak loudly. You know, good women don't speak loudly. If you speak loudly, you're not going to get married. Then you're like, marriage, you know, yes, get married, but then that's not the end product of your life. And that's why I'm saying it's a socialized thing that can really be broken. Because we've seen women who have broken that, who have, yes, gone to school, gotten good education, they're in spaces of leadership, they're running their families, they're contributing to the development of this country. And sometimes you will hear now the backlash is that woman, you know, she's Kimbelembele or something else, you know. And we need to start changing how how we as a society see women. What is success? And does a woman succeeding mean that men are failing? That's not true.
As we end up this first part of our discussion, the right to education, we know that it's inherent in our constitution and our laws. But then we have very many issues, like you'd highlighted, that, you know, are making our girls drop out of school. We have early marriages, female genital mutilation, sexual abuse, child sex trafficking, and gender-based labor division. Maybe you can share with us, based on your work with Akili Dada, which of these issues have stood out for you guys, and, you know, what sort of interactions have you had and experiences?
Yeah, thank you. So for us, the way we approach it is looking, so we decided to approach all these problems using really education, mentorship, skills building, and leadership development. And these four things for us make sense because they are cross-cutting. If it's about, say, child trafficking, or say the gender division of labor, if you teach a girl just the basic thing about labor that is divided based on gender, they will know how to choose better. If you give this girl an education, you're already giving her a choice to choose differently, to know that, yeah, I don't have to be the one who's always cooking. But I'm not going to say, hey, people, I'm not going to cook. They're going to know how to negotiate that space for them, for themselves. Yeah. And once you start negotiating the space for yourself, you give yourself the voice and the permission to negotiate for others. So for us, we approach that, just give girls education, quality education, couple that with mentorship. And mentorship is to say, yeah, there are women who are making it. There are women and men out here who we can look up to are changing the narrative, changing the status quo. Looking up to that, to them, gives these girls, gives these young women something to look forward to, something to want to be, to aspire to be. And then, you know, in that mentorship, we just don't do empty talk. We'll also talk about just pertinent issues that are affecting the society. We'll do STEM-related issues, things around science, math, and technology, because this is a domain where, you know, it has been heavily male-dominated. And we see once you bring girls into the space, they are also able to do well. We'll give them relevant skills that help them not only for where they are in high school, but also when they get out. I think if you ask many women, when you first start to negotiate for your salary, your first salary, you're like, you know, I just got lucky. I mean, I think the feeling is, you know, I just got lucky to be here.
Yeah.
And we want people, we want these girls to grow up knowing, you know, you didn't get lucky, you worked hard.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, who got the A? Who got that job? Who applied for this job? You didn't get it just by chance, right? So for you to, so we teach our girls to just own the spaces they are in, own their lives, know that the decisions that they are making not only affect them, but also affect others around them and others for generations to come.
That's true.
So our work is really quite holistic in the way we approach the issues that are facing our societies, because we recognize that all of us, women, we all have our vulnerabilities. At the end of the day, it's the opportunities we've had that set us apart. So we want to constantly recognize, yes, we are working with girls and young women from underprivileged backgrounds who may not have access to a lot of opportunities. But then we want to say, here are the opportunities. Meet Linda, who is doing XYZ. Learn from her and excel. And that way we are able to address all these other issues, vices in the society that every day we see something on TV, we see something on social media, and you're like, what's wrong with us as a society?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, that's wonderful. A great, nice system there that keeps churning out the good stuff. Wonderful, Purity. We're taking a short break. Ladies and gentlemen, this is She Power. Keep it WTV Kenya. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is She Power, where we celebrate all things women. If you're just joining us today, I am joining Purity Kagweria here at Akili Dada. She's the executive director, and we're talking about the empowerment of the girl child. Now, keeping it interactive, do you believe that we have empowered women or the girl child too much? Send us an SMS on 20058, Facebook, WTV Kenya, Twitter, WTV KE. Back into our discussion, Purity. Of the issues that we highlighted previously, you know, which ones do you feel that have been overlooked in the country?
That's interesting because, you know, I feel like as a society, sometimes it's what's going on, what's the biggest thing on the table at the moment. Like for now, I would say, you know, I feel like, not to say education is the most important thing that you could be addressing, but I feel like it really addresses a lot of the things we'd highlighted earlier. Like when people have access to education, it not only educates the mind, it also educates the heart. And that informs, say, the sorts of even friends you end up having or the kinds of opportunities you have. It informs a lot. And for me, I feel like as a society or as a country, maybe sometimes I feel like we're not doing enough on education. And this, when I say education, I don't mean just the book related or what we learn in our 844 system. It's just education around life. Like, how do you interact with different people? How do you look at yourself as a global citizen? Because I feel like our system prepares people to just compete locally. The good thing about us Kenyans is we are hustlers, as you know, we are quite on the hustle. So, and I think our system is so loaded with stuff anyway, that even when you get out there, we are a society that really values education. So regardless of what position you put Kenyans into, somehow they'll find a way.
Oh, they'll find a way
But
out of it.
sometimes that path is steeper. You know, it could be lessened by us just being very conscious on how are we passing on values to the people who are coming after us. How are we learning from the generations that have gone before us and ensuring that, say, for example, issues around corruption, issues around nepotism are not continuing as we move on as a country. So that education that is, yes, in classroom, but out of the classroom, I feel as a country we could be doing much better. And so for me, I really hope that as we would be a bit more keen in the things that we are passing along. And in just passing on values that not only stand within our context, but really when someone moves or interacts with people from other parts of the world, it can already be seen that this is the thing that stands up, that sets this person aside.
Oh, yeah.
aside.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Real value,
Yeah,
right
real
there.
value, yeah.
That's wonderful. That's great. Now, can women leadership, especially in this country, and when we talk about women leadership, women in elected positions and even nominated here and there, change the position of the girl child in Kenya?
Yeah, I think women change the position of everyone. When they are in leadership, they change the position of everyone. I like to think about it, to look at it this way. Take a mother in a household, even whether they have a job or not. Yes. The thing is, at the end of the day, they ensure everyone has eaten, no one is walking around naked, and it's in very rare cases you find a woman who's let her children drop out of school. They will do everything to ensure that her kids are going to school. I feel like that's a thing that's really, that nurturing element of women is continuous when they're in spaces of leadership. And I feel that when women are in leadership and they figure out how to bring themselves, they are more productive. So I think women in leadership really bring everyone on board.
They definitely bring everybody along. Yes. Tell us about the Women in Leadership program that you guys have here at Akili Dada.
Yeah, so we're running this, so Akili Dada's basis, as I said earlier, is really bringing along women in leadership and ensuring that these women are connected to each other and to others and are supporting each other. Beginning of 2015, we were really thinking about 2017's general election. And we know every time we go to vote, there's a big question of where are the women. Oh, yeah. So we decided to start a program that focuses on young women who are interested in vying for political posts come 2017. So the model of our program is we work with the same group of girls or young women over a long period of time. So this one started in 2015 up to 2017. We're working with a group of 30 young women who are interested in vying, whether it's governor, MCA, MP, whatever they're interested in vying in. We are working with the same group of 30 young women to prepare them so that when the space gets heated, they will know how to get themselves there. How to maneuver. So that, their members, we hope by next year, all of them have found a political party which they've attached themselves to. They have been going through things like developing your own political manifesto, drawing a campaign strategy, public speaking, all the things that we know are some of the deterrents to women's just accessing the public spaces of leadership. Because women are leading in the private life, but why can't we also lead in the public? So we decided, let's prep the young women. Let's ensure that when that question is asked, we'll say at least there's 30 young women who are ready to get into these spaces. And we hope, out of this, it will translate to bigger numbers. When we voted, that we won't say, oh, now we need to nominate more women so that we can meet the numbers, that are set out in the Constitution.
That's very true. Yeah. Let's have them competitively ask for this space,
Exactly.
Because, we have qualified young women out there who would suit in all these positions. And I hope to see all these lovely 30 young ladies out there and, seeking all these political seats. Exactly. As we wind up this section, Purity, maybe you can tell us, where do you want to see Akili Dada in the next 10 years? You're done with the first phase of 10 years. Yes. So what do we expect to see and what do you want to achieve in the next 10 years?
Yeah. Thank you. For me, really, is to see more of the young women who've been through this program in various leadership spaces across Africa. They're already doing it. We have young women doing fantastic things in this country and in other spaces across the world. But in 10 years, I think you can look back and say, because we gave this girl a scholarship when she was in Form 1, by the time they're done with school is at least 10 years of being in the program. So I think from now on, we start seeing a lot of the fruits of what Akili Dada has been working on. And of course, we'll continue to grow the numbers. I also want to see this organization really recognized as a convener for girls and young women. And to also, because the voices of women are not only missing in leadership, they're also missing in policy, they're missing in research, they are missing in writing. If you see the number of novelists or people who just write books, women are fewer. Yeah. So I hope Akili Dada continues to convene girls and young women, and of course they all grow into now what we just call women, is to see more of these people having a link to each other just because Akili Dada facilitated that.
Oh yeah, amazing. And we wish you all the best in that. Right about now, we are getting into our She Fun Fact. I hope you're ready. Here we go. So Purity Kagwere, Executive Director, Akili Dada, let's start us off with, what is your pet peeve? What gets to you? That one tiny thing that people do that you just don't like?
Laziness. I'm a bit impatient. So when I think this thing is not really going as fast as I think it should be, then I just take that equals laziness. And sometimes it's not true. It's my own impatience.
Okay.
Yes.
Very interesting. Now, Purity, what would you say to a younger version of you at 21?
Believe in yourself, girl. Yeah, I think I spent a lot of time thinking, things will fall in place. But now I recognize you can work for things to fall in place. You can set up things to fall in place. Just don't wait for them to land. Yeah.
Amazing. If given an opportunity to say thank you to people who kept you moving, but they've never known this, who would that be? Maybe you can give us 3 examples.
Let's see. Lately I've been conscious about telling the ones I think about, thank you for doing XYZ. But I'd thank my grandmother, actually. I'd thank my grandmother because she brought me up. Yeah. So I'm very grateful for her, and that she continues to try and understand what I do. She doesn't speak, she's illiterate, but she makes effort to try and understand what I do. She sends me food up until now, so I'm really grateful for her. I'd also thank Wanjiru, who's the founder of Akili Dada, because she told me once that I was not ambitious enough. And I think I just wanted to prove to her that I was ambitious. Yes. But then I also wanted to figure out how to be comfortable in who I am as a person. Yeah. So that led me on a journey to figure out what's my personality, how do I lead, what are the things that matter to me. And for that, I'm grateful for that challenge. And I'd like to thank Deliverance Church in Meru, because the congregation of that church are the ones who paid my school fees to go to college.
And the beauty about it is you're giving back. Yes. You want more girls to have the opportunity that you did. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, so I'm really grateful to that group of people, because if nothing else, they're complete strangers. People I'd met in church, and they believed in me and took a chance on me.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Are you ready for the tongue twister? So you're going to repeat it thrice for us. I hope you're ready. So there you go.
Oh my God. I saw Susie sitting in a shoe shine shop. Where she sits, she shines. And where she shines, she sits. I saw Susie sitting in a shoe shine shop. Where she sits, she shines. And where she shines, she sits. I saw Susie sitting in a shoe shine shop. Where she sits, she shines. Where she shines, she sits.
There you go, that was good. Give you an A. An A. Yes?
Thank you.
Next time I want an A+.
A+.
Thank you very much, Purity, for
Thank
having
you,
us
Linda.
at Akili Dada.
Thank you so much.
The wonderful, lively conversation that we've just had. And we wish you all the best as you continue to impact our society positively and uplift young women.
I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been She Power, where we celebrate all things women. We've been talking about the girl child and women. And I've had with me Purity Kagwere, Executive Director of Akili Dada. I hope you're keeping the conversation interactive on our social media platforms. Also SMS us on 20058. I've been your host, Linda Kruger. Keep it here, same time, same place.